All right, let's get this started. Give me a few seconds. Going live for the first time on TikTok. All right. Shalom. Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahushai broke a thumb to the brothers. Yahweh Shamar Alathan Ba'Hashem Yahushai to the sisters. I am priest and officer Shargapan of the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. Started out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commandant General YAHANNA. And since 1969, we have been teaching the truth of the Bible and nothing but the truth to blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, and wake them up to who they are according to the Bible. And that is the so-called Israelites, the children of God of the Bible. Yes, I said it correctly. So-called Negroes, so-called Hispanics, so-called Native Americans are the real children of God, the only children of God, the Israelites, the 12 tribes of Israel that you read about in the Bible. And today we're going to be talking about and discussing a very damning topic, because this particular problem has been put on our people since the time of Egypt, since the time of Assyria and Babylon and Persia and Greece and Rome, and now here in America. It's the culture of whoredom, this thought culture that we seem to be under here in America, like we were in other places of the world during our slavery. Slavery in Egypt, slavery in Persia, slavery in Rome, slavery here in America. We have been forced and mentally conditioned to accept this whore culture, this whoredom, this thought culture. And now in 2020, Black, Hispanic, and Native American men and women accept this particular lifestyle, this culture, this way of thinking with no hesitation. And they're quick to defend it, if you say something against this culture that they have been so indoctrinated into, that they so willingly accept. So we're going to be going over some scripture where we'll talk about what God thinks, right? We'll talk about what the scripture says about lifestyle, where we learned it from, what it's doing to us now, right? First, I would like to turn to the book of Romans. The book of Romans, chapter 15. And we're going to start at the 4th verse, because this is very important for Black, Hispanic, and Native American men. And the reason why I say Black, Hispanic, and Native American men is because we as men are the only ones that have the ability, the power, and the influence to stop our women from shaking their ass on TikTok, from shaking their ass on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and creating OnlyFans. Black, Hispanic, and Native American men have this particular power and influence and authority to stop our women from being strippers, to stop our women from being whores and prostitutes. We have that ability because we for so long we've had the ability to promote it. We promoted this in our hip hop videos and our rap videos. We promote this by going to the strip clubs every day and throwing money on our sisters who shake their behind for us, right? We encourage women to act a certain way. On TikTok, you see a bunch of Black, Hispanic, and Native American women shaking their ass and doing some type of dance to Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion's WAP video, all dressed in and skimpy clothing, or in short shorts, booty shorts, shirts that come up to here, so you see the undercarriage of their breast, and they're dancing for people to watch. Why is this acceptable? Why have Black, Hispanic, and Native American men allowed this to continue and go on? If you're a father, how would you feel watching your daughter shaking her ass on Instagram, shaking her rear end on TikTok? How would you feel with your daughter wearing nothing but lingerie, doing a split in the air and then a split on the floor and bouncing on the floor? How would you feel as a father? How could you be the boyfriend or the husband of a woman and encourage her or promote her and watch her and allow her to do these things on social media? So we're gonna open up the Bible, because Black, Hispanic, and Native American people have been fed the Bible the wrong way. They have been spoon-fed the Bible to suit those who want to control us. It's no secret that the white man brought his version of Christianity, his version of Catholicism and Baptists and all these different denominations of Christianity. It's no secret that he is the one that spread these things, these ideologies off of the Bible to the masses. Let's read. The book of Romans, chapter 15, verse 4. It says, "For whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning, that we through patience and comfort of the scriptures might have hope." Now, when we open up this Bible all the way from Genesis to Revelations, all of this was written before 2020. All of this was written before 2015. All of this was written before YouTube, before TikTok, before Instagram, before Facebook, before MySpace, before Skonex. If you're from New York City and went to public high school and junior high school, it was before all types of social media, right? So we have to go and look at what's inside the Bible, because many parts of the Bible contains huge chunks of history that line up to the history that we are taught in school, right? When we go look at the Israelites' time in Egypt, when we look at their time in Persia, when we look at their time in Greece and in Rome, we can see how these people of other nations influence the so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Americans' behaviors. And the reason why I'm saying so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native American is because those are the names that have been placed and given to us by our oppressor. Our real name, according to the Bible, if you are a so-called Negro, Black, Jamaican, Haitian, Trinidadian from Tobago, if you're Dominican, Nicaraguan, Cuban, Puerto Rican, Argentinian, Brazilian, if you're from the Lakota tribe, if you are so-called Taino Indian, if you're Incan or Azteca from the landmass of Mexico, or Guatemala, Honduras, your real name according to the Bible is Israel, Yashar'Allah in the ancient Hebrew. You are the real children of God. And our oppressors throughout time, our slave masters, whether it were the Egyptians, whether it were the Persians, whether it were the Assyrians, the Greek, the Roman, or right here in America, the white man, the so-called devil on the earth. We can see how they have treated us throughout history. And when we look back into history, right, we see during the time of the conquistadors, when they came over here, they turned our women into whores. They made our women into prostitutes. They raped our beautiful women. They raped the so-called Negro women. They turned them into whores. They even raped and sodomized our men. And this is in the history books, just not the history books that you're taught in school. You have to go in and you have to go into higher education. You have to go do research, independent research, non-biased research on your own. And you will see and discover the abuse, the tyranny, and all the traumatic experiences that so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans had to endure and suffer due to the savage behavior of white people, where they raped our women, turned our women into whores, promoting this behavior of whoredom that we see going on throughout the entire earth, where our little beautiful princesses idolize Cardi B, idolize Nicki Minaj, idolize Megan Thee Stallion, and they want to do and copy the things that they see these women do. They want to go and wear all these skimpy clothing. They want to go and shake their ass and show their breasts. They want to go and sleep around with a bunch of dudes, when all of this goes against what God wants. Now, I am anti-church. I am against Christianity. I am against Catholicism. I am against the Protestant church, the Baptist church, the evangelical church, Episcopalian, because none of these religious groups teach the Bible the way it is written and the way that it was intended. Right? So let's go into some more scriptures instead of you just hearing me run my mouth. Right? Let's go to the book of Proverbs, chapter 3, verse 31. The book of Proverbs, chapter 3, verse 31. If there are any questions, feel free to type them in, whether it's on Facebook, YouTube, or here on TikTok for the first time. You can type them in, all right? Proverbs chapter 3, verse 31. Envy thou not the oppressor, and choose none of his ways. Why is God telling us to not envy our oppressor, our slave master, the people that rules over us, the people that created the American Constitution and the American government, the people that created the European unions, right? Why is God telling us not to envy our oppressor? The reason why God is telling us not to envy our oppressor is because the things that they do are not the things that we are supposed to do. We are not supposed to think that dancing half naked on Instagram is something to idolize and something to aspire to. We wouldn't have all these beautiful Black, Hispanic, and Native American princesses. And I say the word princesses because you are princesses. We wouldn't have all these princesses on TikTok and Facebook and Instagram, half naked or almost naked, dancing for viewership. We wouldn't have them making OnlyFans page where they're finger popping themselves or doing some or engaging in some sexually explicit activity with themselves or with other people. We wouldn't have this issue. But we glamorize the lifestyle of white people. White people have been savages since they came out of the caves of the Caucasus Mountains, since they came out of the mountains of the Caucasus Mountains, since they left the steppes of Georgia, the steppes of Russia, since they left their caves. They have been perverts. They have been fornicators. They have been the biggest race of people on earth that engages in all types of abominable things, whether it's prostitution, whether it's homosexuality, whether it's eating other people and cannibalism. White people have been doing this since the beginning of time. And now, since they rule over us, we glamorize their lifestyle. White people turn us into whores and prostitutes during slavery. Now in 2020, our women willingly want to be whores or willingly want to appear like a whore. They willingly want to dance naked or half naked and slide down a pole until they fall and crack their jaw open on the floor, until they sprain their ankles spinning the wrong way on a stripper pole, until they go out and sleep with the wrong man and get an STD that ruins their life. As Black, Hispanic, and Native American men, we have to stop encouraging this lifestyle. It says, and choose none of his ways. White men love women who are naked. Listen, I love when my woman is naked. That turns me on. But that's for me in my home. That's for me in my privacy. I don't want to look at another man's woman. That goes against the laws of God. I don't want to have to turn on TikTok and scroll through videos and see all these beautiful Black, Hispanic, and Native American women half naked, doing some dumb dance routine that obviously has gotten many injured, hurting their knees, breaking their jaws, spraining their ankles. Why do that? Why would you want to put yourself in that position? Right? So let's drop that and let's go to some more verses. Let's go to Psalms, the book of Psalms, chapter 83, verse 2. The book of Psalms, chapter 83, verse 2. And there is a reason why our women think and conduct themselves in the manner that they do. And we're about to find the answer right now. Because a Black, Hispanic, and Native American girl doesn't grow up and think, you know what? I think I want to be a whore when I get older. I think when I get older, I want to slide around on a stripper pole and get money. I think I want to be naked and play with myself on OnlyFans. A Black, Hispanic, and Native American girl is not born thinking these thoughts. These are things that she witnesses, or these are things that are encouraged and promoted to her. And the reason why this happens is because this is the lifestyle that our oppressors, our slave masters, these colonizers pushed onto our people, even till right here, September 2nd, 2020. Psalms chapter 83, verse 2. Again, if there's any questions on Facebook or YouTube or TikTok, please feel free to type them in. I will answer all your questions. Psalms chapter 83, verse 2. It says, for lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. Our enemies have gathered together and have been making this loud noise, this loud ruckus. And they hate us, and they lift up their heads. We're supposed to look down on white people. We're supposed to look down on Asians and so-called Africans who sold us into slavery to white people, who captured us on the west coast of Africa because they hated us and sold us to white people. These Arabs who made and built the slave ships that the Africans put us on, that the white man used to sell us all across the Atlantic, back and forth in the transatlantic slave trade. Verse 3, they have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones. Our enemies, the enemies of God, white people, African people, Asian people, Arab people, East Indian people, if they're not so-called Negro, Hispanic, or Native American, these are our enemies. And these people have taken crafty counsel. They all got together and decided the best way to destroy God's people. The so-called white Jewish man sat down with the so-called Ethiopian Jewish man, who sat down with the Romans, who sat down with the Greeks, who sat down with the Arabs and the Persians and the Iraqis and Iranians, who sat down with the Chinese and the Koreans and the Japanese. They all came together and tried to establish the best way to destroy our people, the best way to destroy our lifestyle. And they consulted against us. Our enemies consulted on how to destroy Black, Hispanic, and Native American people. Verse 4. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. Our oppressors, our enemies, they all gathered together. They all came together and decided we need to make sure that these people no longer call themselves Israel anymore. We need to make sure that these people no longer remember who they are. We need to separate them and call them black or colored or African American. We need to separate them and call them Hispanic or Latino, right? Or wetback or SPIC. We need to separate them and call them Native American or redskin savages, right? These are what the white man, the African man, the Arab, the Asians, this is what they designed, what they came up with to destroy our people. Verse 5. For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee, because they came together and figured out the best plan to destroy us. And they all joined sides against Black, Hispanic, and Native American people to destroy the children of God. And their strategy was to get us to disobey God, to get us to break God's laws, to break God's statutes, to break God's commandments. Because every time we break God's laws, statutes, and commandments in the Bible, we get punished by God. We go into slavery, we lose wars, we get killed, or we get put into slavery and our family split apart, like every single time during our slavery. The most recent one here in America during slavery. Now, if you don't believe me when I say the white people, the Africans, the Arabs, the Asians, right? I'm going to read to you some of these nations or tribes of these nations that represent, and these are the real names of these people living today. Verse 6, the tabernacles of Edom. Edom, the race of Edomites. These are our white people today. Excuse me. All those people who consider themselves to be white or who have a white father, regardless of skin complexion, so-called white people, they are the race of Edom, Edomites. And the Ishmaelites. Ishmaelites descended from the son of Abraham called Ishmael. Ishmael today are the so-called Arabs, like Muhammad was, that disgusting camel driver who created a BS religion called Islam. The Arabs are the Ishmaelites. Of Moab. Moab are the so-called Chinese. The Hagarenes. Africans. Gabal. Ammon, the so-called Japanese. Amalek. Amalek is a tribe from the race of Edomites. Amalek today will be the so-called Jewish man. That white Jewish man with them curly hairs, wearing that hat and all that stuff, dressed in all black. They are the so-called Amalek according to the Bible. The Philistines, another African tribe with the inhabitants of Tyre, another African tribe. So here we have white people, we have Arabs, we have Chinese, Japanese, we got other races of African people, right? We have all, when you go down this list, you can see that all the races of people that still live today are right here that we read about in the Bible. They just go by different names. They change their names. Because no one wants to be called Edom or the race of Edomites when we see that Edom played a role in destroying Israel. The so-called Jewish man doesn't want to be called by his true name, Amalek. Because if we all knew that he was Amalek, we would know that he's not the real Jew, which he's not. Right? So our enemies have conspired against us, and they have done a fantastic job in destroying Black, Hispanic, and Native American people. And today we're specifically talking about our women, because our women are extremely precious. Black, Hispanic, and Native American women are princesses who just don't know that they're a princess, who lost their identity of being a princess, right? So let's get into some more scriptures. We're going to go to Isaiah chapter 5, verse 20. Isaiah chapter 5, verse 20. For all the brothers that are joining on Facebook and YouTube and TikTok, Shalom, Yahweh Bashim Yashai Burkathum. To the sisters, Shalom, Yahweh Shamar Latham Bashim Yabashai. All right? We're going to keep getting into this. This video I'm making specifically because I gotten so much heat and so much pushback on the social media platform called TikTok, where I spoke against a Latina who was dressed in lingerie, dancing half naked to a song by Megan Thee Stallion. And the only thing I said was sad. One word, 3 letters. I typed sad in the comment board. And that unleashed a wave of people coming at me with disrespect, people coming at me upset with me that I think what the sister was doing was sad. People giving me the excuse that I shouldn't body shame her off of one word, sad. People giving me what? It's not body shaming. I know it's not body shaming. The water body. People telling me that I have no right to judge her. According to the Bible, when you judge someone, there's a punishment that comes with that judgment. I'm not carrying out any punishment. I'm not killing anyone. I'm not burying anyone in the ground up until their neck and stoning them to death. I'm not kicking anyone out of the neighborhood or the community. People telling me that she is promoting, what's the word they use? She is promoting body positivity and being comfortable in her own skin. Well, listen, if you were comfortable in your own skin, you wouldn't have to be half-assed naked on social media for the entire world to see. You wouldn't need that attention if you were comfortable with your body. If you were happy with how you look, you wouldn't have to put yourself on blast for the entire world to see. Yes, Abadia.
What's called obese, middle-aged men do the same thing that we call body positivity?
To some people, my brother asked, could a middle-aged man who is extremely overweight get half naked on social media, and will people still call that body positivity or body empowerment? I'm pretty sure that there will be people out there that are going to say, yes, he's promoting body positivity, body empowerment. But if he really felt powered by how he looks and comfortable with how he looks, why would he have to show the world?
Right.
He would just, all these people that give that excuse, I'm just showing everyone like me that they should feel empowered. Well, listen, how about you do something that's positive so people can feel positive? Why do you have to show your ass?
Right.
Why do you have to show the beginnings of your vagina on TikTok? Why do you have to show your breast on Facebook? Why do you have to expose your whole self on OnlyFans to show body positivity? That is an outrageous, twisted way of trying to promote something to be good by getting half naked and passing it off as a positive thing. Concern. Speaking about Hispanics, they're lost beyond belief. Chicanos are Mexicans who have assimilated into American culture and keep their way of life. That's another thing I got. Some so-called Mexican got mad at me because of me telling this sister that what she was doing was wrong. And he got mad at me when I called him Chicano, when I called him Azteca, when I called him Vato, right? All the names that so-called Mexicans call themselves by, right? But he would not admit that a woman dancing half naked is wrong. He would not admit that if he had a daughter, he would not want her to do that.
Right.
No one will admit that they'll be fine allowing their daughter to do this. It's just something that gets swept under the rug, right? So let's go. Isaiah chapter 5, verse 20. Woe unto them that call evil good and good evil. Now let's break this first line down. Woe just means death and destruction, right? So death and destruction to anybody that decides to call a good thing evil. Me telling this beautiful princess on TikTok that she should not be dancing half naked for the world to see, that's a good thing. That's being a real brother. That's showing that you care about someone. By telling them not to do something that is wrong, they decided to call what I was doing evil. They got mad at me for telling her that she shouldn't do that. Right? And good evil. However, her dancing half naked, everyone that was against me was calling that good. They were finding some way to defend her decision, to defend her behavior. Don't you know in slavery, the white man made so-called Hispanics and natives dance naked for their entertainment? Don't you know they made them strip for their entertainment? Don't you know that they raped them in front of their husbands as entertainment? Imagine being a Native American man, Mexican Indian, Incan Indian, Brazilian Indian, indigenous people, right? Imagine being a man and seeing a white man, an oppressor, a slave master, force your wife, your daughters, your mom, dance naked. Dance while they get naked. And you have to witness this action. You have to witness this defilement. You have to witness and be utterly disgusted and hurt and enraged while these slave masters have sex with your mother, rape your mother, rape your wife, rape your beautiful daughters in front of you, and you can't do nothing.
Yeah.
Now in 2020, we have strip clubs where beautiful Black, Hispanic, and Native American women want and desire to dance naked for money. They want and desire to be porn stars. They want and desire to dance half naked to get more subscribers, to get more views on TikTok and Instagram and OnlyFans. They want this. They willingly want this. When back then, we rather die than let a white man rape our women, rape our daughters, rape our mothers. We'd rather die. And many of us did die. But we do it willingly here. And again, I don't want to just put the blame just on Black, Hispanic, and Native American women. This has every much to do with our men. Black men, Hispanic men, Native American men, you have to stop encouraging this behavior. We have to stop going into strip clubs and giving our sisters money for dancing naked. We have to stop watching porn. We have to stop turning our women into whores and prostitutes. We have to stop being pimps. We have to stop this. Because if we continue to allow this, your daughters are going to follow in the same footsteps. You're going to grow up and you're going to see, your daughter's going to grow up and you're going to see her on Pornhub or new porn on Backpage or on OnlyFans or on some erotic Cinemax flick. You're going to see her at Sin City dancing naked. You're going to see her at Sue's Rendezvous dancing half naked. You're going to see your daughter on TikTok and Instagram with nothing but a bra and her panties on, shaking her ass to get more views, to get more subscribers, to get more fans. We have to put an end to this. Our women need to know that this behavior is unacceptable, and we need to stop feeding into this behavior. And it starts with our men. Men are the only ones that can induce and bring about real change in our communities. We're the only ones. Because if you take the most recent one, Black Lives Matter movement, it was created by women and lesbians. And what happens now? Now they're putting the homosexuality in the forefront, transgender rights in the forefront. When I thought Black Lives Matter was created because black men and black women were being killed, murdered. Little black boys and black girls were being killed, murdered. But the people who run the Black Lives Matter movement, they're not talking about that black man that was gunned down at that black church in Brooklyn yesterday. They're not talking about all the black and Hispanic kids that were killed during the 4th of July. There's no protest or demonstration. I don't see a demonstration for going against black on black crime or brown on brown crime or black on brown crime or brown on black crime. I don't see any demonstration or marches for that. But I do see them having protests and demonstration when they can gain money. Just like Reverend Jesse Jackson, just like Malcolm X and Martin Luther King and Al Sharpton. It's always about money. How can they make money? But here in the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, we don't give a damn about money. We care about these laws, statutes, and commandments. We care about obeying God. And we care about our people. We love Black, Hispanic, and Native American people. And only these people. They deserve the best. They deserve more than the hood and slums and ghettos and drugs and whoredom and alcoholism and reservations. They deserve more than being first fired and last hired. You Black, Hispanic, and Native American people deserve more than having to go without heat in the winter, or having to go without hot water in the winter, or having to go without clean drinking water and bathing water. Our people deserve more than this. And like my Adam once said, they worship the Catholic and Christian gods, but call themselves Aztecs or indigenous. Ignorance is a plague in our Latin communities. Ignorance is a huge plague in Latin communities, Black communities, Native American communities on these reservations. We suffer so much from ignorance. And even in California, they're passing a pro-pedophilia law. Now that's an even other topic than what today's topic is about. But can you imagine that? Back in slavery, we had to witness our women being raped in front of us. We even had to witness our men being raped in front of us. We even witnessed children being raped in front of us. This is the culture of white people. And this is what white people have established to be the culture here in America. And that's why pedophilia, it will be passed in California. And then in Utah. And then in Oregon and Nevada and Texas, all the way to eventually pedophilia will be a social norm. Will be accepted countrywide like homosexuality is now. Because back then homosexuality was kept secret. It was looked down upon. White people did this behind closed doors. Black, Hispanic, or Native American people that were looked at as homosexuals, they were shunned and shamed because that's not something that's allowed in our community and our lifestyle. You want to say something, brother?
Now, I was going to say in the future, I made a post about this on Facebook. In the future, I see a day when law and order SVU will be completely taken off the air because that's what that show talks about.
Yes.
It's what's called
Law and Order Special Victims Unit.
Yeah.
Filled with children being molested and raped by older people,
Right.
White men.
Right.
Soon, your favorite Law and Order episode, you won't be able to watch it on YouTube, Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime, the Disney Channel. You won't be able to rent the DVDs on Redbox or whatever you want to call it.
But if they do so, they're gonna put a message like they do with the racist cartoons. Oh, this reflects a different time period in America. This does not reflect the views of the people today. Meaning we're okay if you're a pedophile, but back then in the 2000s, that was a problem.
Correct. You won't be able to find these videos.
Right.
Your special Law and Order video because it condemns and targets pedophilia, and they're promoting pedophilia now.
Right.
All right, let's go down to the next scripture. Isaiah chapter 5, verse 23. Isaiah chapter 5, verse 23. It says, which justify the wicked for reward, and take away the righteousness of the righteous from him. Now, all on this TikTok video that I posted on, and I ended up making a video about it, there was nothing but people justifying this wicked act. There was nothing but Black, Hispanic, and Native American men and women, and some devils, some white people, saying that what this girl was doing was okay, was acceptable behavior, should be promoted. And they were all trying to condemn me. They were all trying to take away my righteousness when I was telling her that she shouldn't do that. That she should not be in lingerie, dancing in front of the world to see. They called what she was doing justice, good, right. They rewarded this wicked act by supporting it. And they were trying to condemn me for going against a wicked act. You know how twisted that is? That's like telling the murderer of your brother that what he did was a good thing, while they tell you that you trying to expose the murderer is wrong. And we hear that in the hood all the time. Don't snitch. Don't snitch, and you let the murderer go around the hood killing more people. It's backwards thinking. But again, this is the culture. This is the lifestyle that we have embraced because it has been conditioned into us for centuries by our oppressors. Let's drop that and let's go to 3 John chapter 1 verse 11. The third book of John chapter 1 verse 11. Shalom to the brothers that are checking in. The third book of John, chapter 1, verse 11. Beloved, follow not that which is evil, but that which is good. He that doeth good is of God, but he that doeth evil have not seen God. We should not be following in the footsteps of our slave masters, of our oppressors. Black, Hispanic, and Native American women should not be following after the customs and actions and behaviors of white women. Let white women be whores. Let white women be strippers. Let white women create OnlyFans. Let white women do all these evil things. But Black, Hispanic, and Native American women, you should not do any of those things. You should not be half naked dancing on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, OnlyFans. You should not be whores and prostitutes and porn stars. You should not be doing any of that stuff. Let white men go to strip clubs. Let white men encourage white women to dance half naked and to be porn stars. But Black, Hispanic, and Native American men, you should not be encouraging Black, Hispanic, and Native American women to do these things. Don't follow that which is evil. Follow that which is good. And what's good is you not going to strip clubs anymore. What's good is you canceling your porn website subscriptions. What's good is canceling your OnlyFans subscriptions. What's good is you telling your daughters that you will be embarrassed and ashamed of her and disgraced if you ever find out that she is on any type of social media platform shaking her ass, dancing half naked for the world to see. That you will disown her if she disgraces you, embarrasses you, and disobeys God. Let your daughter understand the consequences. Because what happens to strippers? They fall down and bust their chin open while they're twirling on a pole. They get lured into someone's car and raped. They get lured into going back into someone's home and gets raped. Their daughter grows up and thinks that being a stripper or promiscuous is acceptable, and they end up getting raped. They end up getting some type of sexually transmitted disease. They end up being in an abusive relationship where a man is beating on them. Let's stop this. And again, it's up to us men, Black, Hispanic, and Native American men. It's up to us to stop encouraging our women. Stop promoting this thought culture, this culture of whoredom, this culture where it is acceptable to be and act like Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion. We have to stop this. Because how would you feel when your daughter grows up and do this? I would be ashamed if my daughters grew up and became whores after I taught them the right way to be, after I taught them that they are royalty and princesses don't act like that. Let's drop that and let's go to Proverbs chapter 17, verse 11. Proverbs chapter 17, verse 11. And to Adawan Kazakyat, Cancer, Isaiah 5 and 20. Woe to those who call evil good and good evil. Death and destruction to anyone that thinks that being a whore is good, that thinks that promoting the thought culture is good. And may God bless you if you stand against whoredom, if you stand against thought culture, if you will not tolerate your women for dancing half naked on Instagram and on TikTok. May the Lord bless you for standing up for his laws, his statutes, and not condoning such wicked behavior. Right? Because Black, Hispanic, and Native American women, you are so precious. Your worth is beyond measure, right? And I'm gonna tell you right now why I say this. Black, Hispanic, and Native American women, there was a time, and I'm saying there was a time because right now, your actions, your behavior has been diminishing your worth. But there was a time where nothing could equal or value a black woman. Nothing on earth can equal or value a Hispanic woman, a Native American woman. You were so precious, right? Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 56. It says that the tender and delicate women among you, these black, Hispanic, and Native American women, you are tender. You are delicate. You are precious. You are like a daffodil. You are like a dandelion, a rose. You are one of the most precious things on earth, black, Hispanic, and Native American women, which would not adventure to set the sole of her foot upon the ground for delicateness and tenderness. There was a time where black, Hispanic, and Native American women were so precious that they didn't even want to put their foot on the ground because of how delicate they were, how beautiful they were, how worthy they were. That's a princess. That's royalty. That is what every black, Hispanic, and Native American woman used to be like and should be like today. That you wouldn't even want to put your foot on the ground because the ground is not worthy for your foot to be on it. But our women, we have lost this. We have let slavery, mental conditioning, Stockholm syndrome take away our honor, take away our pride. And now in 2020, our women don't remember how delicate they were. Our women don't realize how precious they really are. Because of Latinas, black women, indigenous women knew how precious they really are, they wouldn't be shaking their ass half naked on TikTok. They wouldn't be shaking their ass half naked on Instagram. They wouldn't be wearing lingerie and posting on it on the gram. They wouldn't make an OnlyFans account where they're playing with themselves sexually for people to pay them for people to pay them. Drop $10 here and make a suggestion and I'll do that. They wouldn't be doing that. Don't you know how degrading it is? But you know what? Proverbs chapter 17, verse 11. An evil man seeketh only rebellion. Therefore, a cruel messenger shall be sent against him. All throughout the Bible, it says how God's people, the Israelites, so-called black, Hispanic, and Native American people, how we're stubborn. We're stiff-necked. God calls us a rebellious people. Proverbs 17 and 11 says, an evil man seeketh only rebellion. You have to have some evil in you for you to want to rebel against what God said. You are an evil person if you rebel against what God said. I'll take it a step further. I said that dancing half naked, that being a whore, that showcasing your body for the world to see goes against what God wants for black, Hispanic, and Native American women. You are evil if you rebel against that. Because I can prove to you where God says not to do that. In the Bible. You are evil if you rebel against that. And as your punishment, not from me, because I'm not going to punish any Black, Hispanic, or Native American man or woman. That's not my job. But my job as a priest of the Lord, as a prince of God, my job is to love you and to tell you that what you're doing is wrong and that you need to change. Stop. Stop this wicked behavior, because it's only a matter of time before God punishes you. Like it says here, therefore a cruel messenger shall be sent against him. You want to be Instagram famous for shaking your ass and spreading your cheeks online? You want to do the WAP dance you want to do the dance to WAP on TikTok wearing nothing but a thong and a bra? Well, listen. God is going to send a cruel messenger. God is going to send an angel to bring destruction to you. God is going to allow your death, allow your destruction. It can come in the form of AIDS, sexually transmitted disease. It can come in the form of a death of a loved one. It could come in the fashion of you watching a loved one suffer and die from, let's just say for one, throat cancer. Having to watch your mom struggle to breathe every day. All because you want to be a whore. Or because you want to be a stripper. Or because you want to shake your ass and expose yourself on TikTok. Your judgment, your punishment from God will be sent to you. God is going to give an angel, give him an order, and that angel is going to carry out that order and bring God's punishment to you. Let's drop down to verse 13. Proverbs chapter 17, verse 13. It says, whoso rewardeth evil for good, evil shall not depart from his house. For all those people that wanted to condemn me for telling this beautiful princess that she shouldn't be dancing half naked for the world to see, you're calling that good. God says evil shall not depart from your house. By you defending this beautiful princess and thinking that it's acceptable behavior for her to be half naked and dancing on Instagram, TikTok, for you to say that it's female empowerment, allowing a woman to be naked because she's demonstrating body positivity. Evil will never leave your house. God's judgments will never leave your house. You will always be under the curse up from God. Every day you will wake up and ask, why is it difficult to put food on my table? Why did my dad molest me when I was younger? Why can't I get a good man? Why does every man have sex with me and leave me? Why is it that my children's father doesn't want to be in my life or their life? Why did I choose this kind of man? Anything you can think of, evil shall not depart from your house, because you would rather defend wickedness and condemn righteousness. Let's go down to verse 15. Proverbs chapter 17, verse 15. He that justifieth the wicked and he that condemned the just, even they both are abomination to the Lord. So whoever wants to say that this girl dancing half naked on TikTok is a good thing, and whoever wants to say that me telling her that it's wrong is a bad thing, God's saying that both is an abomination. The one that supports her dancing half naked and the ones that say that what I did by telling her not to do that, both of you are an abomination to the Lord. What you have done is a disgusting, wicked, vile act, decision, according to God. Let's drop that and let's go to Psalms chapter 38, verse 20. Psalms chapter 38, verse 20. Come. And Bakwashamov, you're absolutely correct. People think it's crazy when you tell a woman to cover herself or to not be half naked walking down the street. And she looks at you half crazy because this society promotes that whore culture. Just like what I've been speaking about this entire time. I said one thing to a Spanish woman dancing half naked on TikTok. Sad. Everyone came to her defense to say that what she's doing is acceptable and were against me by telling me that I'm wrong for telling her not to dance naked. This is the culture that America promotes. Psalms chapter 38, verse 20. They also that render evil for good are mine adversaries, because I follow the thing that is. I follow that good. I follow the thing that good is. So you know what? All those people that jump to her defense, that want to promote whoredom, all you Black, Hispanic, and Native American men and women that want to promote whoredom, the thought culture, you are my enemy. Because you want to call that evil thing good. You want to call prostitution good. You want to call stripping good. You want to call whoring good. You want to call being a jump off good. You want to say that women dancing half naked is a good thing. You want to say that a woman who has an OnlyFans where she's half naked or pleasuring herself for other people to see is good because she's about her bag and about getting money. You want to encourage prostitution and stripping because of the money people make. You want to call that good. Well, you know what? You're my enemy. Just like you are the enemy to God, you are my enemy. Now, don't get me wrong. I love all Black, Hispanic, and Native American people. And I want the best for our people. But if you're going against what God wants, no amount of love I have for you is going to stop you from being my enemy. Because you want to continue to allow our people to be destroyed. You are in the way of our people healing. You are in the way of our people ruling the earth again. You are in the way of progress. You are in the way of having God send Jesus back to us to take us out of this captivity, to save us from this damnation. You are my enemy. Because I do what is the good, what is right. I follow after the footsteps of Christ. I go around and try to tell my people, you shouldn't do that. And the only reason why I do that is because I've learned from the men that came before me in the Israelite school of universal practical knowledge who did this before me. I follow in their footsteps because they followed in someone else's footsteps all the way since 1969. Because those men followed after the footsteps of the disciples, Paul, Mark, Luke, John. Because they followed after the footsteps of Christ. And we want all Black, Hispanic, and Native American people to do the right thing again, to obey God again, to turn back and leave the customs and cultures of America and sprint to the laws, statutes, and commandments of God, our own custom, our own culture, our own heritage, be royalty again. Let's drop that. Again, for anyone that's watching, whether it's on TikTok, YouTube, or Facebook, if you have a question on this topic, type it in. I will answer it. Because the priest of the Lord is supposed to have an answer for every question. And that's what we train our brothers here in the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. Just like Christ had an answer for every question, just like Jeremiah and Ezekiel and Isaiah and Moses, we have the answers to every question. So if you have a question, type it in now based on this subject matter, and I will answer it according to the scriptures. All right, let's go. Zechariah, the book of Zechariah, chapter 8, verse 16. Let's go to the book of Zechariah, chapter 8, verse 16. It says, "These are the things that ye shall do. Speak ye every man the truth to his neighbor. Execute the judgment of truth and peace in your gates." We are supposed to go and tell our people the truth. Tell our brothers and sisters the truth. Tell every Black, Hispanic, and Native American the truth according to the Bible. And the truth is that dancing half naked on social media is wrong. It's a sin. The truth is being a whore, a prostitute, a harlot is a sin according to God. The truth is, if you are promoting this behavior, if you are encouraging this behavior, if you are allowing this behavior, you are part of the problem that this behavior is going on. You are committing sin. You are causing your brothers and sisters to commit sin. Because according to Leviticus chapter 18, finding someone naked is a sin. It's wrong. I'll prove it to you. Leviticus chapter 18, verse 4. "Ye shall do my judgments and keep my ordinances to walk therein. I am the Lord your God." God's telling us that we need to keep his judgments, that we need to keep his laws. We need to keep his ordinances. Verse 5. "Ye shall therefore keep my statutes and my judgments, which if a man do, he shall live in them. I am the Lord." If we will only keep God's laws, statutes, and commandments, we would live. Now, I'm not saying we would live forever. Because even Adam died after hundreds of years. Even Noah died after hundreds of years. Even Abraham died eventually. But when it says you shall live, you'll be protected by God. You'll have food to eat. Your children won't go hungry. You won't have to worry about drugs in your community. You won't have to worry about your people suffering from alcoholism. You don't have to worry about your people being raped or robbed. You don't have to worry about that. You'll be living. You will live. Don't they call that, right? When you got the good life, you got money, big mansion, cars. This is living. Popping champagne, this is living. Well, God will allow you to live if you keep his judgments, if you keep his statutes and you keep his commandments. He'll allow you to live. Verse 6. None of you shall approach to any that is near of kin to him to uncover their nakedness. I am the Lord. So listen, what this is saying is that it's a sin if we uncover the nakedness of a family member. If I go watch my sister get undressed, if I go watch my dad take a shower, if I go watch my mom getting dressed and I'm looking at their nakedness, that is a sin. I'm uncovering their nakedness. Verse 7, the nakedness of thy father or the nakedness of thy mother shalt thou not uncover. She is thy mother. Thou shalt not uncover her nakedness. God is telling us that we shouldn't see our father naked. We shouldn't see our mother naked. That's what God's telling us not to do. Verse 8, the nakedness of thy father's wife shalt thou not uncover. It is thy father's nakedness. Now, according to the Bible, men were allowed to have more than one woman. Native American men were accustomed to having more than one woman. Taino men were accustomed to having more than one woman. I'm not saying that every man had more than one woman. I'm not saying that in every different tribe, men had more than one woman. I'm saying that it was something that did happen, that was allowed. It was not looked down upon. It was acceptable. So here, when it's talking about thy father's wife, maybe your father had 3 wives. If you saw the nakedness of one of your father's wives, you are basically watching your father naked. You're committing a sin according to God. Verse 9, the nakedness of thy sister, the daughter of thy father, or the daughter of thy mother, whether she be born at home or born abroad, even their nakedness thou shalt not uncover. So let's say one day you go into the strip club and you're watching this beautiful Jamaican sliding down a pole. Let's say you're watching this porn and you're seeing this beautiful Spanish girl with the fat butt and the big breasts, and you're all excited and horny and you're doing whatever disgusting thing you're doing, and you realize that that's your sister. You realize as she turns sliding down the pole, that's your baby sister or your older sister. That woman in that porn movie, that's your sister. You just watched your sister's nakedness. You just watched your sister play with herself. You just watched your sister have sex by 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 men. You just watched your sister get naked and slide around on a pole. You uncovered your sister's nakedness. And God said you're not supposed to do that. You can keep reading Leviticus chapter 18 all the way down. You'll see that you should not see the nakedness of this person or that person. Verse 16. Thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of thy brother's wife. it is thy brother's nakedness. You know what? All black, Hispanic, and Native American men are brothers. When you go to the strip club, more than likely, well, let me rephrase that. You are looking at your brother's nakedness. That could be your brother's daughter that you're looking at. That can be your brother's woman that you're looking at. All you men on TikTok, Facebook, OnlyFans, Twitter, Instagram, that go and seek out these women to watch them dance naked or half naked or shake their ass, to WAP and do splits so you can see the vagina and look at their camel toe and watch videos of them shaking and bouncing their ass, and you go and you look for these things and you heart them, you like them, you leave comments saying, oh, you're so sexy, oh, you got such a fat butt, oh, what I would do if I was there with you, would you be my girlfriend? You know other men are doing the same thing, right? You know you're doing that to someone's woman, right? That woman most likely is having sex with someone. She belongs to a man. More than likely, that woman has a father who loves her. You are committing a sin. You are breaking God's laws. You are promoting disgusting, wicked, vile, and unacceptable behavior. And it needs to end. That's why here in the I.S.U.P.K, we cannot stress this enough. Men are the real leaders. Women cannot be leaders. Because when women are leaders, they get soft and allow homosexuality and transgenderism into their movements, like the Black Lives Matter movement. Real men, which are only found in the I.S.U.P.K, we don't compromise. We don't bend. We don't budge. We go exactly by the book. We do exactly what God tells us to do according to the Bible. And real change starts with men. Black, Hispanic, and Native American men, you have the responsibility and the power, the authority, the task, the obligation, and you are commanded by God to help your people change. You must accept that responsibility. There's no way around it. Because if you don't, then your daughter is going to be a whore on TikTok. Your daughter is going to be a whore on OnlyFans. Your daughter is going to be stripping on a pole at a strip club. Your daughter is going to be in lingerie, showing her coochie, her ass, her breasts, dancing and twirling for other men to see, for other men to like and comment on her video. That's going to be your judgment. It is your responsibility. It is up to us to stop this behavior that our women have been allowed to thrive in. We have to stop promoting this culture. It needs to end. This and several other things will allow us to separate from our enemies, to separate from our oppressors, to live righteously, to take back our land. Let's drop that. Let's go to the book of Romans, chapter 1, verse 25. The book of Romans, chapter 1, verse 25. I'll give you some time to get there. Again, I am priest and officer of Shagapan of the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. Started out at 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under commanding General YAHANNA. For everyone watching me on TikTok, you can click the YouTube link on my account and it'll take you to the I.S.U.P.K page of Harlem. For everyone that's watching me on Facebook or on YouTube, Subscribe, like the channel. No Cowards Hudson Valley Israelites, right? If you live in Hudson Valley, New York, Spring Valley, Rockland County, Westchester County, Dutchess County, Orange County, Putnam County, subscribe. This is a channel just for Black, Hispanic, and Native American people. And everything we do is for Black, Hispanic, and Native American people. Romans chapter 1, verse 25. Who changed the truth of God into a lie and worshiped and served the creature more than the Creator, who is blessed forever. Amen. Who changed the truth of God into a lie? God said that he's against homosexuality. But the Christian church allows homosexuals to run rampant in their church. Christians allow homosexuals to be the choir director. Christians allow homosexuals to be the dance coordinator. Christians allow priests and ministers and fathers of the Catholic Church to be secret homosexuals.
Right.
Then you wonder why your children get molested by Catholic priests and Christian ministers and pastors. Who changed the truth of God into a lie? Who said it was okay to be a whore Monday through Saturday, as long as you're in church on Sunday and giving your donations and tithes? Who changed the truth of God into a lie and said that men could be child molesters and rapists and pedophiles? You know who changed the truth of God into a lie? The white man. The white race has changed the truth of God into a lie. And if you think I'm lying, if you're mad about that, you got the Christian church, the Catholic Church, the Baptist Church, the Protestant Church. All these different Christian denominations and Catholic entities created and run by white people. Now let's go back even further. The white English were big homosexuals and pedophiles. The white Spanish from Spain were big homosexuals and pedophiles. The French, big homosexuals and pedophiles. The Portuguese, big homosexuals and pedophiles. The Italians, big homosexuals and pedophiles. That's where we get the Catholic Church from. The Romans, the Greeks, big homosexuals and pedophiles. Whores. White people have changed the truth of God by creating Catholicism, by creating Christianity. And the way you know this is by when you open the Bible and you read how Jesus Christ himself told a woman who was caught in the very act of adultery. Jesus Christ himself told a woman who was caught being a whore, he told her, go sin no more. Don't be a whore anymore. Stop being a whore. Stop sleeping with multiple men. Jesus Christ told this woman that. He told her to stop sleeping with multiple men. However, the Christian and Catholic Church promotes women having multiple husbands. You can get married to this person, divorce them, marry this person. You can be with this person, but if you're on a break with this person, you can sleep with this person and this person. The Christian and Catholic Church promotes you to save yourself until marriage, but hardly any woman in the Christian and Catholic Church waits to marriage to have sex. Normally, they slept with multiple men and even women before they actually find a person they want to spend the rest of their life with. CC Fire 12. It's okay. We end in class now. Normally, the class runs from 7 to 9. We're at the end of class. So your question, what is? CC Fire 12. Is it possible for you to explain what happened to Noah with Ham? I certainly can. CC Fire 12, as I explain this, what I want you to do is to follow me on TikTok. Follow the link to YouTube that's on my TikTok, right? Go on Facebook and find I.S.U.P.K. Add all the I.S.U.P.K. groups, because you may be in a different state than I'm in. You may be in a different part of the world than I am. If you are Black, Hispanic, or Native American, you should contact the nearest I.S.U.P.K. school to you, right? So CC Fire wants to know what happened with Noah and Ham, right? So let's get it. If you're talking about Genesis chapter 9. Genesis chapter 9, verse 21. And he drank of the wine and was drunken, and he was uncovered within his tent. So Noah drank a little too much one day, was inside his own tent. Think about it this way. Noah was inside his own room. You live in a house with your family. You got Ham, Shem, Japheth, Ham's wife, Japheth's wife, Shem's wife, Noah, his wife. All live in a big house. Noah's been drinking a little bit. Your dad's been drinking a little bit. He gets drunk. He falls asleep in his own room, in his own house, naked. Your pops is naked in his room, right? Verse 22. And Ham, the father of Canaan, saw the nakedness of his father and told his two brethren without. I don't know about you, but it is extremely disrespectful and rude and disobedient if you go into someone else's room, one, without their permission, without them knowing, without even announcing yourself. Ham had the audacity to go into his father's room. You don't read about knocking on the tent or Ham calling out to his dad to see if he can enter, to see if he can come into the room. However, we see that Ham goes into his father's tent, goes into his father's room, sees his father naked, butt-ass naked, drunk. And instead of doing the honorable thing, instead of immediately saying, oh my God, I feel so ashamed right now, I'm seeing my dad naked, instead of covering his eyes, instead of feeling embarrassed, instead of feeling ashamed for not doing the decent thing to knock to see if you can be allowed into the room, Ham decided to leave his father's tent and go tell his brothers. And the reason why he told his brothers and was joking about it was because of what his brothers did after that. Ham had no respect at that moment. He was being disrespectful. He was being a disobedient son. Sorry, C-Fire. It's pronounced C-Fire. Okay, C-Fire. Ham was talking bad about his father, was making fun about his father. Basically, he was talking shit about his father. Let's put it that way. Ham was talking about how his father's so fucking drunk. He's laid out butt naked in embarrassment. Ham was doing all the wrong things, talking about his father's nakedness. But his sons Shem and Japheth, verse 23, And Shem and Japheth took a garment, took a piece of clothing, a cloak, laid it upon both their shoulders. So I'm standing here, my brother's standing here. We have a blanket in between us on our shoulders, and went backwards. And they walked backwards. They entered. They knew their father was drunk because Ham was talking about the father. They knew Noah was asleep because Ham was making fun of that Noah was asleep. So they took a cloth. They walked backwards into the room so they did not see their father's nakedness, and covered the nakedness of their father. And they were able to put the garment, the clothing, the blanket over their father to cover his nakedness. Right. They did the honorable thing. Right. They did the thing that a righteous son of God is supposed to do. If you love your father, you would never want your father to be in a compromising position. You never want your father to be embarrassed like that. And Ham had no respect, but Shem and Japheth did. They covered their father. They didn't look upon his nakedness. And they saw not their father's nakedness. Verse 24. And Noah awoke from his wine. Noah woke up and he was, drowsy. He drank too much. He was like, oh man, I might gotta have a little hangover. What happened? And he knew what his youngest son had done unto him. When he woke up, he knew what had happened. He found out what had happened. And he said, cursed be Canaan. A servant of servants shall he be unto his brethren. So you know what? Because of Ham's actions, Noah cursed Ham's sons, Canaan, and said that he will be a servant of servants. The descendants of Canaan, of this particular lineage of Ham's son, he'll be a slave to slaves. So when Black, Hispanic, and Native Americans take their rightful place as Israelites according to the Bible, as the only children of God according to the Bible, our slaves, other African people, Arabs, Asians, the descendants of Canaan, of this specific tribe of Africans, they will be the slaves to all our slaves. So if I have a Chinese person digging for coal, and in my coal mine, a descendant of the tribe of Canaan will be that Chinese person's slave. That African person will be the slave to that Chinese person. That's what that means. That's what happened to Ham's son. For Ham disrespecting and being dishonorable to his father Noah. Yes, see fire, Ham was clowning his father Noah. He was being disrespectful, disobedient. And with that, this concludes our class of today. I got a ton of scriptures more I want to go into that I didn't even get to go into. Guarantee you I'll be saving this for next Wednesday's class. We're going to continue with this same subject. All right? So for all the brothers that are watching right now, Shalom, Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai Barakathum. To all my sisters out there, Shalom, Yahweh Shemalathum B'Hashem Yahushai. I am priest and officer Ashar Gapan of the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. Started out of 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under commanding General YAHANNA. We are out here on these streets in Harlem, Newburgh, Philadelphia, Baltimore, Boston, Nicaragua, Brazil, Haiti, Dominican Republic, Mexico, Canada, the United Kingdoms, all over the globe, trying to save Black, Hispanic, and Native American people and gather them all together so that we can turn back to God. And with that, I end this class, and I'll see y'all next time. Shalom, Israel.